Welcome everyone to today's Coatings Talk in January 2026. My name is Megan Ellsworth and I am your host. I'm so excited. We're talking about cutting time and getting your job sites efficient and ready for service and maintenance programs. So I'm really excited. Today's sponsored by KARNAK, and I have Chris Huettig and Tracey Donels with me today. We're going to be talking about service departments, efficiency, efficient products, all sorts of stuff. Thanks everyone for being here. So, Chris, I'd love it if you could start us off with introducing yourself.
Yeah, thank you, Megan, and thanks for joining us today, Tracey, as well. It's always great to be on a panel and talk about maintenance with you. My name is Chris Huettig. I'm the Vice President of Technical Services at KARNAK. I've been at KARNAK for 27 years, been in the roofing industry for 32 years, member of a lot of committees, RCMA, ASTM, and all those things too. We manufacture a bunch of great products, but one of the things I really enjoy talking about is people involved in maintenance, how they use our products. I'm excited, as everybody else is, to be here today just to be able to talk maintenance with Tracey. I think it's going to be a great conversation.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Tracey, could you please introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Tracey Donels. I own Service First Solutions. We are a coaching training consulting company that helps commercial roofers specifically grow by focusing on the repair and maintenance departments. So I've been doing this, like I said, for about 5 years. I was a contractor in Dallas for about 15 years, and I love going out and educating the folks. I just got done speaking here at the Iowa Roofing event here locally, and see Chris all over the place. And I love the education he does, and it's one of the reasons that I used KARNAK when I was a contractor was the education that they offered, not only myself but the people on my team.
Amazing.
So we help people grow by focusing on operations first and sales second.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, thank you so much for being here with us, Tracey and Chris. So let's just get right into it. So I'd love to start off with you, Tracey, on this one. Why is a service and maintenance program so essential for commercial roofing contractors?
So it is essential because everybody thinks of it as the thing we have to have, right? And that is, and we do have to have a service and maintenance department because no one could put on a perfect roof.
Right.
And the thing that gets us started in business is those small jobs that can help us build the trust and the relationships with those customers leading forward. So it is definitely something you have to have, and I think my job and Chris's job today is to convince you of it is something that you want to have as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, why do you see it so essential for commercial roofing contractors?
I mean, the very basic of it is if you're putting on new roofs, you're going to have to service your own roof. So you got to you got to be efficient at that and have a group that's able to handle those. But even beyond that, as Tracey was saying, you got to build maintenance. It's going to do a lot of good things for you. And you want to build that. It builds your company out, balances it out. With that, there's a lot of education. It's not just about having a service crew and repairing things, but also knowing how to sell that service aspect of your business. And I know we're going to get into that today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
So So I'd love to know if a contractor on here now is saying, okay, well, how should I start this? What are kind of the offerings I should offer at first? How should contractors define those maintenance offerings that they're starting with? Maybe Chris, you can start with this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of just set something here and see if Tracy agrees with me. But I think sometimes the wording contractors go when they're going to have a maintenance crew needs to be changed to just give a little better picture. When you're selling maintenance to building owners, it kind of sounds like something I don't really need. I may
Yeah.
need, I don't need, but I don't want to pay for it kind of a thing. But if they kind of frame it as like more of an asset protection program, and here's what's involved in that. I think it sets a whole new table. They're able to sell it, and it's more meaningful to a building owner. But there's, a lot of different ways to set it up. There's different phases of it. There's groups that are going to do, inspections, minor repairs. You really have to define what you're going to do. And that's important because when you define what you're doing, the building owners clearly understand what they're buying as that asset protection program. And then things outside the scope of that, they're able to write up quotes and add additional work to their business to add to their revenue stream. Um,
Totally.
I mean, we always say from our side of it with like our coating warranties, you have to have biannual maintenance inspections at least twice a year. So I think that's a start. There are instances where that needs to be increased. It depends on each building owner and the situation there. And then just, what you're doing there, I think, again, as I said, you clearly define it. You can then add certain packages or levels of it. Basic, standard, premium, gold, silver, platinum, things like that add offerings to those who want it. Some need it, to a building where, it's a light industrial building that's got some vents up top that's discharging something from a process happening inside. They may need more inspections more frequently and in some cleanings to help keep dirt off the roof, reflectivity high, things like that. That's obviously a higher service, so you'll be able to offer those services to those clients when you need them.
Right. I love that
Yeah,
asset protection program. Go ahead, Tracy. Take it away.
yeah. And I was going to say to kind of piggyback off what Chris said. He talked about really knowing what you're going to market with. Having your menu of services. If you're going to go out there and sell your services, you have to know what you're going to offer. And most contractors, oh, little breakdown there, sorry. Most contractors or most building owners think they need us when the roof leaks and when it's time for a new roof. And we need to go out there and educate them because of our menu of services that include all the other things that they don't need us for. Whether it's going to be those inspections, those quoted repairs, it could be into some metal work or a real preventive maintenance program. And that's the other thing Chris really touched on too is your biannual maintenance program. And I see a lot of contractors, too many contractors out there that are really providing inspection programs rather than preventive maintenance programs. They're calling it preventive maintenance, but all they're doing is going out there doing an inspection and providing a report, right? Preventive
Um,
maintenance actually has some maintenance, whether it's cleaning the debris, the gutters, making some minor repairs, so on and so forth. An oil change and an inspection is an oil change and a 52-point inspection. It's not just a 52-point inspection saying, hey, you need an oil change. So contractors really need to have both, but this is why you want to have a clear menu of services of what you're offering, because it's a lot easier then for your salespeople to go out there and sell that and market that and provide those solutions to your building owner. And
yeah.
another one that Chris talked about is having your levels. Once you have that trust, you can start to grow this into other services, right? I mentioned metal, obviously waterproofing, right? Not just roofing, but vertical applications, interior applications, all kinds of stuff that you can be that problem solver for your building owner.
Yeah. I have an additional question here, kind of going off of that for either of you, but Tracy, I'll point it to you first. What are the kind of typical buildings that you see need a maintenance program more regularly? That, contractors should be, if they're doing like a restaurant, they should definitely be talking to that building owner like you need to get on a maintenance program. What's the parameters there?
Yeah, and that's a great thing that Chris kind of touched on is knowing the building, right? And you bring
Yeah.
up restaurants, right? We're gonna have probably have some animal greases and some fats up there that need to be taken care of. If we are an industrial plant, right? Places that have activity, right? We always talk about the difference between a 500,000 square warehouse and a 100,000 square foot shopping center. A 100,000 square foot shopping center is going to be a lot harder to maintain because it's got a lot more traffic. You have 10 HVAC guys, 10 satellite companies, 10 plumbers, 10 people going out there changing out filters, doing stuff. No control over it, and all kinds of equipment and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
you really have to look at the building, and it could be because of complexity. It could be because of the equipment that's on it, or it could be because of age, right? It could be simply an old roof, and maybe it's an old roof, so it has small drains and it's around a lot of trees, so there could be a problem with drainage or backup, stuff like that. So, like Chris said, 2 times a year is a great rule of thumb. But there are going to be buildings that may need or your customer may want to have inspected more than that.
Amazing. Thanks for reiterating that. Okay, so moving on, where can contractors find savings when they're doing this maintenance work? Chris, do you want to hit this one first?
Find savings. For me as a manufacturer, we have a number of different products, and whenever I do trainings, I don't want to tell everybody about every repair product, and I might have a repair product that can, or 10 of them that'll kind of do the same thing. We try to make it as simple as possible, boil it down to these few handful of products can be able to, and you go through the roof systems, will do as much as you need to do with as little as possible. And I think that from us is very helpful in manufacturing product, that we're getting them one or two products that take care of everything. But from their standpoint, the efficiency is I don't, I got more space in my work truck for all the other things I may need. So we're very, conscientious of that. We don't want to load them up with stuff they don't need to get.
Yeah,
So from that standpoint, I think it really hits it hard and works well when they're using and learning about products that they can do more with.
absolutely. Tracy?
Yeah, and I think what I would add to that is a few things. A true maintenance department works for everybody in the company, so they can actually make everything in the company easier. They are a great relief for, oh, there's a huge bid package and we need 20 roofs walked and cored, or we have a bunch of thermal scans to do, and you know those salespeople don't want to get up in the middle of the night and do them. So maybe we'll give them to the service department, have those do them, right? The service department truly works for everybody, but also by getting those repeat clients and building trust, it truly makes everything easier. If
Mm,
we have a client relationship, a long term service relationship, 3, 4, 5 years, well, we know the building really well, we know the customer really well. So when it is time for that roof to be replaced or have a long-term coating plan to it, right? Maybe it's just getting a little age, but we can put a coating on it right now and get another 10, 15 years out of it without having to tear that off. Well, if I put a bid in, my bid's going to be a little bit smarter because I know the building a little bit better. So maybe I'm going to have a smarter bid, but maybe it's also going to be a little bit easier to sell that project because we have a relationship. You know, I know what the person likes to have, what kind of coffee they like, and what their kids like to do on the weekend because we've been solving these problems for them for several years, right? And then when we actually have the project, well, now they like our production crews or our waterproofing crews because they've had a relationship with the company.
yeah.
Oh, you're with Service First Solutions. Oh, the service department's been taking care of me for years. Thank you so much for helping us on this project. And lastly, they pay you on time.
Mm,
Who doesn't like that? Because
huge.
again, they have a relationship with you, right? I always make the joke about the screw ups my wife will let her hairdresser do because she likes her so much, right? She does a pretty good job, but every once in a while, it's not perfect, but it's okay because we love Lynette. We got to keep going to Lynette, right? And that's the kind of relationship we can get with a service department.
Yeah.
And one thing I'd like to add to finding savings, the labor there, reduced hours through streamlined processes. We think of that as being something because we can bill efficiently, make our customers happy, makes the work better. But I think sometimes we also need to think about the culture that creates, and having those processes. When I'm a service person and I know the people above me have put out a thoughtful process, I'm going to be much happier in my job.
Yeah.
And it's going to create a better work culture as well.
Yeah, that is so true. And I think also having, like, to your point, Tracy, having a relationship with your customers also builds that work culture because you're not just creating community within the job, but you're creating community within your community. And you can
Hmm.
maybe you run into a customer in the grocery store and say, "Oh, I worked on your roof. I cleaned it last week or whatever."
Hmm.
So I think that's a really great point.
Yeah, they become almost salespeople for you.
Exactly.
Me and my wife still joke about a customer I had when I was at K Post. One of my first accounts was Citibank. I had all of Texas, and we called the property manager Grandma Citibank because she just loved me so much. And sweet Becky Collins, she still likes my posts on LinkedIn, even though she's been
Oh.
retired for 3, 4 years. But she
Oh.
was like a super customer for me because anyone she met, Oh, do you know Tracy? Have you met Kay Post? Right? Have you met Steve Little? So on and so forth. Whatever happens, she was doing the work for us just because we made her happy. And
Yeah.
same thing with with your employees, right? You find the right employees, you treat them right, they're going to go do the work for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I love it. So, kind of moving into that continued time saving and cost saving, labor, reducing your labor costs can be huge for saving time, saving money. What are ways to reduce labor costs in maintenance and operations? And Tracy, I'll shoot this one to you first.
So I'm going to let Chris talk about the training and stuff like that. What I really want to talk about is the have a plan side, right? So the estimating side. I see far too many service departments that when they have to go out to quote a job, they're providing a repair proposal to the customer, but the estimator, the salesperson really isn't getting a plan together of what they're doing, right? They might have an idea in their head, but then when they go to quote this job, they're saying, I think it'll be about half a day's work. And if it's a half a day's work, that's probably about $700 worth of materials. Well, then, because then we hand off this quasi job to the service department looks at it and says, well, I guess go do whatever I want to go do. And the job that is sold doesn't equate to the job that is performed. But if you turn over a very detailed scope of work with a plan that says, hey, it's 2 men for 4 hours. I need 3 buckets of this Karnak product. I need 2 rolls of this scrim. Here's the miscellaneous products you need. Well, then I'm much more likely as a foreman or a crew to go out and carry out that job successfully, which means we're going to get it done on time, under labor. And the key is not having to come back.
Yep.
Not having to come back. So that's the thing I really see. A lot of people want to train, and I want to let Chris talk about that, but we don't take long enough to really develop a plan. We
Yeah.
wouldn't turn over a re-roof without a plan, a re-roof job without a plan, right? Really have a plan of what you're doing and turn that over to your service department and let them both be successful.
That's so brilliant. Chris?
Yeah, in training, I guess I want to start with have purposeful training. Don't just don't just say you want training to check the box and say so and so came by and we use their product and we already know what it does, but we had them come by anyway. There are all kinds of different uses, advantages. Manufacturers will even share things that, hey, you may have used it for this, but now we got a better way that you don't need to do it, so don't do it that way anymore. That are there to help everybody. So when you schedule a training, make sure you got the right people in the room who need the training, who need to understand.
Yeah.
Ask manufacturers. We do a lot of training ourselves. Some of my training is geared towards sales and maintenance when they're talking about maintenance and selling it to a building owner. Other training is for the techs on the roof. Other ones is for estimating. So make sure you're asking the right questions so that you're getting the right groups together. And manufacturers, Karnak will do it all day, every day, and I'm sure other ones will do it as well. But we're there to provide the training. So if you haven't, even had a refresher in something, there's all kinds of things happening in roofing. I know people say it's a slow industry for change. I would agree with that 20 years ago, but I disagree with it today. There's more change happening and that's being adopted quicker, faster than ever before,
Yeah.
that we need to all stay on top of it, including myself. I will talk to equipment manufacturers just to see what they got that's new and tell them, hey, I got these 3 products that people use. What do you have that I can share with contractors that makes this application more efficient? And they'll share. So, we're all in a learning phase all the time. And that's why those trainings are so important and we need to do them. Because at the end of the day, we want them using the right product in the right situation and use it once and they're done and they solved what they needed to solve. As Tracy said, when there's callbacks, that's going to take the revenue away. That's making us inefficient, and we want to reduce that, and we want to do it as much as we can on the training side. Our job is to have a repair product to allow the contractor to go out to repair it one time and not have to go back a second time. We're building it so it's like that, and we want them to understand the product, feel comfortable with it, and be able to do it where it's just a one-time thing for them as well without any callbacks.
Yeah.
That's true. And one thing if I can add real quick, I want to
Yeah.
get the training is so many people think about training, and I want you to think about practice as well,
Mm.
right? We can't just watch the video or see the demonstration and know how to do it or expect to get good at it when you send me out on the job when you're holding me accountable.
Yeah.
We need to give people time to practice. And I'm always talking about how service departments are the firefighters of the roofing world. Well, if we truly are, think about how firefighters practice. They set a building on fire. Is that cheap? Is that easy? No, it is not. Is it necessary? Yes. And so we have to give our guys time to practice these products, practice these repair methods, practice these big pieces of machinery that we're asking them to maintain and operate. They have to have a chance to practice before we put them out in the real world, because not only are they going to be much more successful, but it's going to make everything easier. Again, it's going to make everything easier. So again, not only training, but practice.
Yeah. That's such a good point. And I love, to your point, Chris, of different manufacturers talking to each other, talking to the equipment manufacturers also. That I love to hear that, because all the contractors want is to work with a manufacturer that's willing to do that, to talk to the other people and all come together and provide the best products and best applications to their contractors. So in practice, that's so brilliant. And I would have never thought of that, you know. It's so important to practice those techniques and tools and have
Hmm.
that in your repertoire. Brilliant. Well, okay, so we've talked about reducing labor costs. What are some of the labor saving products that can help contractors on the roof to kind of reduce labor costs and you know keep them time efficient? Chris?
Yeah, this kind of fits in our lane here. One of the products that we promoted during the IRE and that we've been promoting more is our 671 Carna Seal. It's a silicone sealant. And it's not just that it's a great silicone sealant, because it is. I mean, so many times, and I tell contractors this, and I'm sure they feel the same way. 8 out of 10 times I'm walking on a roof, that roof either has silicone coating on it or it's got a silicone sealant somewhere on it, and I'm going to have to seal to it. The days of having flashing cements and things like that that kind of stick to everything, we're much more sophisticated today. We have asphalt roofs, metal, single ply, thermoplastic, thermoset, all different manufacturers, all different iterations. Our repair materials are really being tasked to stick to many different surfaces. And that 671, the Carna Seal, that does it. It's a silicone sealant, so it'll stick to silicone, existing, old, new, as well as all those other substrates too I mentioned, the asphalt, the single plies of today. So, having a product like that really is labor savings for a contractor to have, because again, they're going to come across silicone on a roof and they're going to have to seal to it. One of the other things we're promoting with it is also the sizes the product comes in. Whenever I do core cuts and things like that on a roof, one of the troubles I've always had was I need a container size that I can put in a backpack that I can walk up, because I got to maintain my, as OSHA says, 3 points of contact on my ladder. And trying to do a bucket or find a way to get a pail good up there is very difficult. So we saw that ahead of time, and we put this product in a 2-liter pouch, which is a really good size that gives you enough to do a few repairs or a large repair without having too much access, excess extra. Fits right in a backpack. We do it in caulk tubes as well, because some of the roofs today, when you're talking to single ply and you're going up there to fix things, sometimes, if you're not able to torch a new patch down, or you need to do some temporary work or seal something there, having something that can stick to that. And I usually don't need a lot, because sometimes the damage is a scrape by an HVAC guy who
Right.
dragged his toolbox, and that's it. It's very small. It's
Hmm.
very, sticks out. And having a product of certain sizes like that with the right size product can help. Some of the other labor saving tips, and we kind of do in our trainings, using products like our 671 Carnaseal. Let's just say contractors trying to fix an edge of a curb. I've had projects where every year it seems like the contractor's having to fix this. And they were telling, no, started asking questions like, what is damaging this every year? And they were telling me that there's service work done by air conditioning people up there. They're dragging some hoses, and those hoses are being cut as they drag them. They're friction, and they're rubbing up against the curb of some skylights and really tearing them up. So, hey, we thought of some ways to make it a little more durable. So we're taking the silicone sealant now, putting granules in it for this contractor who's doing
Oh,
this type
wow.
of work on that. So again, it just adds another level of ease of fixing it. But having some of those repair products that I can add granules to if I want to, and I can
Yeah.
go over silicone, asphalt, metal, and all those other things. Just again makes them more efficient and have less in their truck to do a better job.
Yeah.
hmm hmm
Amazing.
And
Tracy,
the
what
one
are
thing I
some?
would add,
Yeah.
oh, sorry, I would say just to add to that is really have a plan. And that's another good thing about Karnak is any coating company out there that's trying to sell you a miracle repair in a bucket, and they have one product, is no coating company to be doing work with, and no exterior company to be doing work with.
Mm-hmm.
So have the right products, not only based on the roof type or the repair type, but also your region of the country, right? Depending on where you're at, there may be a product that is better suited. May there be a product that is great in a lot of applications? Yes. But is there probably a product that is best suited for your area? Also, probably yes. And that's why it's great to have a company like Karnak. Um, and then the other thing I was going to, oh, no, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just gonna ask you about any other labor saving products that you've seen used or anything, but you touched on that already.
Yeah. And, the other thing I would say is make sure that you have a emergency repair product, right?
Mm,
Something that you can put down in cold weather, in wet weather, whatever it
yeah.
happens to be. It may not be the be all end all repair. We may have to come back to do that right. But the first job of putting out fires, put out the fire,
Yeah.
right? After we put out the fire, then we can worry about work doing other stuff. So if it is a really cold sleet situation like we have across a lot of the country now, it's what kept me from getting here yesterday from Dallas is that
Yeah.
cold sleet, which can be really hard to have a proper repair product that will help you save time. But if you can get it, you can save time, get it done quicker. And again, not have to come back, not have to have that re-trip call, which will cost you money, but it's going to cost you a lot more confidence than it is
Yep.
money.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because you never want to put your employees in a situation where the customers, getting heated with them and why do you guys have to come back, blah blah blah. So being on top of that, prepared for those situations, so important. Okay, I know
hmm
we talked about 671 Carnasil, but what are some other examples of labor saving products and maybe methods? You talked about having a plan, emergency repair kit, anything else we need to touch on here?
I would say, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Tracy.
I was going to say possibly, think about especially the jobs and the tools to get these products and these repair materials up to the roof easier,
Mm,
whether it be a hoist or special tie-offs or a different kind of ladder or whatever it happens to be. The right piece of equipment is often the right piece of equipment for a reason. So don't just think of it in the terms of, oh, the product itself, but think about it in terms in, hey, how do I work in this product? Could it be the truck that we are driving around? It could be, oh, well, yes, it's a much more expensive truck. It's a much more expensive rig, but I could put more in it. It's got a longer life, it's less money to maintain,
yeah,
so on and so forth. So don't just think about the products, but also think about the equipment as well. Chris?
yeah,
Yeah, that's one of the big things is, not every product has to be, not every product you want to get on your knees, dip into a bucket and spread on a roof.
right.
If there's ways to keep people off their feet, if you're able to stand and work, you're going to be much more efficient. And that kind of may not make sense on the roofing world because, that's what we need to work on. But there are tools out there that help you extrude products easier, quicker, faster, that allow you some efficiencies in using them. And we take a look at all those, and we do that as part of our training. Is kind of share those tools that we've seen, and that as well as contractors have seen. Because like the product right there, the Carnasil, there's a tool out there in the roofing industry uh, called the roof tube. Shout out to Jake Burns. He owes me dinner or something like that for saying this now, but it's a great tool, and it allows this product and this pail to be extruded up and to be applied on the roof where necessary, staying on your feet. You're being much more
Mm,
productive. And I have a few other contractors that kind of do something very similar to that. And again, they're all things that they learned by working on the roof, and that made the use of our products more efficient. And going back to something Tracey said too, sometimes there has to be two trips, but sometimes the first thing, put out the fire. I always call it, you have to triage the roof, and triage the roof means stop the water coming in.
yep.
And the 671 is one of those products that I can apply this to wet, say a wet TPO, it's raining outside, and then come back when there's drier conditions that I can now get my Leister out and I can weld a new piece of TPO to cover that up as
Yeah.
well. Dry repairs, it's great, but so again, when you talk to your manufacturers, you learn about the products, the uses, and tools that are going to help them save labor and time.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned staying on their feet, because I mean, being up on the roof 5 days a week, 8, 9 hours a day after 20 years, your knees have to be exhausted, So as much as you can,
Yeah.
stay off your knees and be on your feet using tools and products like you mentioned, that is so imperative.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So, how can contractors set up their maintenance trucks and crews for success? Tracy, do you want to hit this first?
Yeah, so we talked first and foremost about training, right? Getting the hard skills trained, not only the skills and the tools, but also the skills running the app, the phone,
Yep.
talking to customers, so on and so forth, inspecting a roof for recommended actions, right?
Yep.
Whatever it happens to be, get that training started. The second, have a plan, right? Not only a plan of how we're going to do training, but how from the time a request comes in to the time the invoice goes out, what are the steps of that customer being handled and who's going to take care of those steps. I talk all the time about Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is out here solving lunch emergencies with an adequate chicken sandwich, right? There are better chicken sandwiches, but they have great customer service and great speed.
Yep.
And I know a lot of roofers that do really good work, and they worry about that too much. They don't worry enough about speed. So we have to have our process figured out, right? What are the steps? Who's going to handle the person, and how can we get it done efficiently?
Yeah.
Um, and then I'll say last but not least is inspect what you expect, right?
Love
Have a
that.
have time to go review what is happening. Talk to your customers. Go review the work that is being done on the roof. Not nearly enough service departments have field superintendents that actually get on the roof and visit the crews without without any notice, right? Service or safety in this industry we got really good at safety when we started sending safety people up on roofs without any notice.
Yep.
You want your service crew to get good and do good repairs and you can find the stuff that you need to educate them on. You have to have your superintendents, your service managers show up unannounced. Um, Service departments are never, or service managers, foremen are never going to take pictures of bad repairs and put them in the app and say, "Hey, boss, look at this crappy repair I made." Right?
Yeah.
Hairdressers don't put up bad haircuts on their website; they put up good haircuts. Right? So you can't do quality control in any part of this business remotely. At leadership is present.
Yeah.
Now, I
Totally.
would add to that too. You can turn that to help the culture. It's not that Big Brother's watching over you and you're all worried.
Right.
Use it as a time to kind of create a reward program for your technicians. Highlight those crews that are doing excellent work. Give them something. You're going to find the people that whose names aren't being called are going to question what are we doing wrong. They're going to care more about their training because they want to, at the end of the month or week or whatever it is, they want their name to be called out and be a part of that. I think that's important for success there. A few other things too. I just was kind of thinking things I could add that I've seen other contractors tell me that they do. And one I thought was smart was somebody told me we treat our mobile service repair trucks like a mobile service warehouse, not a tool
Hmm.
shed. So they don't just have a bunch of crap in there that yeah, I may need this one day. No, they have things kind of like going by the 80/20 rule, They want to have
Mhm.
those tools that are going to do 80% of the things they do on a daily basis. Again, is going to make good work with their trucks.
Mhm.
Some of them they label everything very well. I've seen some do that. They'll have the pegboards, they got the shadows where the tools all go and
Awesome.
everything's labeled. They know where it all goes on there. And they keep a restocking checklist and they take the time to go through it every day. It's not an
Wow.
afterthought of the next day thinking, oh gosh, how much sealant did I use or what do I have left of that EPDM tape or whatever I need. No, at the
Yep.
end of the day, they take the time, hit that checklist. They know exactly what they need to get ready for the next day.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. And to take that even further into the warehouse, Chris, a lot of people, thinking about, your warehouse for your service department should almost be like a store, right? And the stuff you buy the most of, Carnaflex, Carnaseal, whatever it happens to be, you should be buying by the pallets. You should be getting a better deal on that if you're using a lot of it. Your foreman should be able to go in there and stock up quickly.
Yeah.
The firemen know where the extra fire hoses are. And here's a key part. It's for service only. This might be a little my bias for service coming back. But
Hands off.
service doesn't get 2 or 3 weeks to set up a job and requisition a piece of equipment and stuff like that. If that's in my service warehouse, it's because in the middle of the night we might be entering a call at 2:30 on one of your projects to go solve a problem. So if it's set aside for service, it needs to be for service. Now I understand there's an exception to every rule, but there's too many service departments to be like, oh yeah, we used to have that. We don't anymore. We used to have that great piece of equipment that made solving our customers' problems so much easier, but oh, somebody took it and broke it. But
Oh,
so yes, I would. That's a
heartbreaking.
little rant about that for sure.
Yeah, I mean that's such a good point. Such a good point. Especially if it's something like a piece of equipment that makes the job completely 10 times easier and quicker. You need to have that stocked up and a priority to the service department for sure. Great point.
Mhm.
Great point, Tracy. Okay. So, Tracy, another one that I'm going to hit to you first. Where does technology fit into this? I know you've mentioned, apps and taking photos and stuff. What are you seeing people using and what do you suggest?
So when we talk to people about their service department checklist, the things you need in a service department to be a well operating service department, software is definitely on there, but it's last.
Mm,
And the reason it's last is software should make your process better. It should not define your process. So there's so many softwares out there, and they're so pliable. You can bend them, you can change them, you can customize them. There's a software out there that is right for you that does work the way you do work. I see too many roofers out there that buy a software and they say, "Well, I guess I got to do it this way, or I have to do it this way." That should not be the way. Software should not define your process. It should make your process better.
yeah.
Second, the right CRM or the right software is the one you can get your people to use. If it's the fanciest CRM on the planet, but it's super hard to use and it's cumbersome and we can't get our people to use it, it's effective as using nothing at all. So don't throw out better because it's not the best.
Yep.
And third, I would say specifically what kind of business you're in. If you are in a commercial, if you're looking for commercial work specifically, you want to look at how that software is set up. And what I mean by that is how does it log the sale? A
Mm,
lot of residential softwares will log the sale according to the client. And you can only see work according to the client. And if we're going to do another job for that person, we need to make a new client because it's probably a new house, so on and so forth. But in the commercial world, you want to be able to access very easily all the work you do on a particular building, no matter what the client is, and access all the work I do for a particular client, no matter what the building is. I want to
yeah.
know all the work I do on the huge mall, no matter it's for the mall, a subcontractor, an HVAC guy, a consultant, whatever it happens to be, because I got to have that history. But I also want to know all the work I do with Jones Lang LaSalle across 38 properties of DFW, because that's going to make me more knowledgeable.
Hmm.
So, depending on what kind of market you're in, could also define what kind of software you're looking for.
Okay.
But if I learned anything from IRE last week, there is software out there. So there is a software out there for you.
I was surprised, not surprised, but just kind of in awe how many new technology companies there were on the floor at IRE last week. It was exciting and like awe-inspiring. So, Chris, anything to add on this?
Well, in my mind, when I'm thinking technology, I'm kind of thinking the bare bones of it. I need some kind of a app on a phone or software to take photos, and
Yep.
I'm thinking digital work orders, things that make that technician have access to it all, that they can do the work, see the work order, do the work, complete it, show it to the building owner, have the building owner sign off so that it gets paid quick. So and I'm sure that
Yeah.
software that Tracy talked about, there's a lot of it out there. One of the things I was thinking about too, there's a lot of industries that are kind of doing what we do from a maintenance standpoint. And I'm thinking we're at a time right now where maintenance crews are growing, and I'm hearing contractors saying we're doing more and more maintenance. So it's a real boom phase for that. But there are some other industries that have kind of already gone through this. And I was thinking like the plumbing, the heating and cooling industry.
Yeah.
I just by chance of having to call a plumber for my house, they've all exploded, and it seems like they're all owned by the same companies now. So there's been so much acquisition by private equity, and they're buying them because they want to make them more efficient as well. So I'm sure they're using software and things that maybe the roofing industry now that we're a few years behind could probably learn for something like that. Tracy probably knows more about that than me,
Yeah.
but I just thought that'd be a good way to kind of see what they're using and if we
Yeah.
could adopt any of that into roofing.
And one, I think that's exactly correct. I mean, they are definitely grabbing up companies, and they are doing it that have repair and maintenance departments because they want that residual income, that repeat client base.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, what you see in HVAC world is definitely coming to roofing. And we kind of talked a little bit about earlier about time savings. And if you think about it, the right technology can also be an incredible time saver because it
Truly.
can help you produce a faster bid. If it's easier to use, that's easier to document what we did, which is easier to communicate. And if we can easier communicate, we can take care of our customers because service is all about communication.
Yeah.
So it can definitely be an exceptional time saver as well if you choose the right software.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I can't thank you both enough. This has been so fabulous. If anyone has questions, please throw them in the chat. We can connect you with Chris and Tracy after this as well if you want to connect with them, chat, pick their brains. Gentlemen, where can people reach you if they want to learn more? Chris?
Well, from the KARNAK side, you can go to karnak.com, karnakcorp.com. We have products, we have, application and techniques up there. We have videos for people to see under our resources tab. I think we have over 40 videos, English and Spanish, for people to learn about products. There's a tab holder there to download and upload the KARNAK app. The KARNAK app is something we would like every repair contractor to have. It's not our website, but it's more concise of the products they need every day of how to do it, how to use them. Videos are there too, as far as and also just getting in contact with all of us at KARNAK. I was talking to Tracy about training earlier, and I feel like maybe some either large municipalities, schools, as well as just contractors, they want to know about training, but they're too afraid to reach out. Maybe I don't know why, but KARNAK is here. I'm sure other manufacturers feel the same way. But reach
Yeah.
out to KARNAK. We have reps and people all over the country. We're more than happy to set up a training, whether on your time, on your schedule, whether it's 15 minutes or it's an hour or two on products, whatever you want to go. You just have to make that call and reach out to us. So be happy to do that for you. So those are easy ways to get a hold of us. Again, karnakcorp.com probably is the best starting place for everything.
Yeah. Amazing. Tracy, where can the people reach you?
So very easy to reach us. Our team at Service First Solutions can be found at growroofservice.com. Our website, it's exactly what we help you do, Grow Roof Service. And of course, you can find us on LinkedIn, the YouTube page, and of course, the coffee shops directory page. Us and KARNAK both have a page there, so you'll find our listings there as well.
Great shout out. I love it. Okay, and we actually just got a question. So excellent timing, Jack, our question asker. So Jack says, cleaning is the most important part of maintenance to make sure repairs will stick. Do you know of any unique equipment or processes that help speed this up?
I'll let Chris handle this one.
Well, a lot of it depends on the type of roof surface you have there. So, a dusty asphalt roof, you're going to need some stiff brooms and maybe a blower. Um, Other ones like a TPO roof, which a lot of times is what we're coming across. Some of these single ply membranes we see more and more have been put on over the past 20 years. So that chances is, means more and more we're likely going to have to repair them. I think having a good solvent and rags, little scrub brush. I like solvents like denatured alcohol. I think that's a great one to use. I like denatured alcohol because it evaporates quickly, cleans almost every surface out there, and doesn't leave any oily residue behind. So whether you're putting a sealant or you're torching down or something like that, whatever you're doing, heat welding on top, it's gonna give you a nice clean surface. End of the day, it's elbow grease, when it comes down to cleaning. So be prepared to do that, and so have your gloves, have your glasses, your wire brushes, your scrub Brillo scrub pads, and a good solvent like denatured alcohol, and it'll help you out well.
Yeah, and then that made me think of something. Everything is a little bit different. You're going to have so many solvents and cleaners. Have your guys know what this is for. Make a little cheat sheet, little info guide. We took a little calling from the sports bars, and we put infographics above the urinals in our bathrooms that said acetone is for this, MEK is for this, well, different stuff. So everybody would know,
Yeah.
hey, you're going to be there, you're going to be staring at it. Old TPO, new TPO, right? Difference, old PVC, whatever it happened to be.
Wow, that's so brilliant. I love that idea, Tracy. For a multitude of things. Why not? Okay, well, if anyone has questions, you know where to reach these guys. You can find their directories on coatingscoffeeshop.com and Roofers Coffee Shop as well. So please let us know, and you can always reach out to me too, and I can connect you with these fine gentlemen. Thank you both so much for chatting with me today. This has been a fabulous coatings talk, and I just can't thank you enough. So thank you, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
Megan,
both.
and thanks again, Tracy, for joining us today as well.
Thank you, Chris and Megan. I will see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow at the CRA show. Thank you all for watching. This will be posted on coatingscoffeeshop.com in 24 hours. And we'll see you next month with the next Coatings Talk. Thanks, everyone. Bye.